by Dodge. Dodge welcomes you to visit the friendly Dodge dealer near you to see their new lineup of 96 Dodge cars and trucks.
Steve Stone down on beautiful Wrigley Field. And Eureka, it's a beautiful day today. Yesterday, well, we'll forget about that. The Cubs lost by a bunch, and they did it because the Phillies just kept hitting the baseball. And one of the big culprits, as far as the Cubs were concerned, was Pete Incaviglia. 2 3-run homers. This one really sealing the deal. The Phillies go on to win by a huge margin. But we'll talk to the Phillies hitting coach, Dennis Menke, and maybe he can explain how they did it, coming up after these messages. Dennis Menke has been the hitting instructor of the Philadelphia Phillies for some time. And Dennis, this hasn't been the best year offensively for you guys, largely because you're missing Dykstra, you're missing Dalton. Yesterday you got back Jeffries. And how does Jeffries, who had a thumb injury, miss so much time and come back 4 for 5 yesterday?
Well, first of all, we all know that Greg Jeffries is a good hitter. He is a 300 hitter, and I think guys that have hit 300 over their career know how to hit. And I think that that's one reason that Greg can lay off for a while, but he still knows what he has to do when he gets up to the plate.
The man yesterday who really was a thorn in the side of the Cubs was Pete Incaviglia, resurrecting his career back from Japan. The first home run went to right field, and that's something that I'm not familiar with from Inky, but he's got 3 hits in this series to right field. What's he doing?
That's the biggest thing I think we've done with Inky since he's been back, is that he's thinking more about hitting the ball the opposite way. In fact, I would have to say that probably 5 or 6 home runs that he's had this year have been to right field, and that's one thing about it. Pete doesn't have to pull the ball to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can hit the ball the other direction and hit it with an authority. And the biggest thing when Pete goes into a slight slump is he's trying to pull the ball too much. And when he does that, his head comes off the ball, and that's when he starts striking out.
He did pull the second one, and that one went a mile. He's got to be as strong as just about any hitter in this league. And I guess you guys caught lightning in a bottle, because he kind of washed out in Japan but came back here, and now he looks like the Incaviglia of old.
I tell you, the big thing about Pete is that he wanted to come back to the Philadelphia Phillies. He knows that he had some of his best years here in Philadelphia. '93 went to the World Series, and he was a big part of that team. I think he's happy to be back with us, and I think that helps maybe relax him a little bit, knowing that he's back here with people that he knows. And I've been with him now for a few years, so I've got a pretty good idea what he has to do when he's up at the plate.
The table setters are the guys that really make it go for the offense. Your table setter, diminutive Ricky Otero, who's doing a great job during this series. You got him from the Mets with a reputation he couldn't hit very well. We've seen him hit very well and bunt very well. What are you trying to accomplish with him?
The biggest thing that we try with Ricky is that he's got to keep the ball out of the air. Anytime he starts hitting a lot of fly balls, he's just not going to hit. He just doesn't have the power to do that. But he works on his bunting. I think he's come up, maybe with the Mets, he was trying too hard to try to prove something. We brought him up from Scranton, our AAA team, and so far he's just done everything we wanted him to do.
Well, Dennis, thank you very much. Good luck when you leave town. And stay with us, because we'll take a look at the scores from yesterday. Then we'll be back with the starting pitchers coming up after these messages. On the mound today for Philadelphia is Terry Mulholland. He's got one of the great moves to first in baseball, and he pretty much nullifies the running game. This year he's been in and out, but he had some bone chips removed and says he's feeling pretty good. And Jamie Navarro, coming off a gem last time, going to the mound for the Cubs. He won the ball game 2-1, and his manager Jim Riggleman showed a lot of confidence in him, letting him go the distance. That's got to help him today. The wind is blowing out. It's just a gorgeous day for baseball, and it's going to be exciting, so stay tuned.
The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
Yesterday was a bad day. The weather was terrible. It rained all day long, and the Cubs got beat. But the good news is today the sun is shining, and that at least will make our ivy grow quicker and greener. Stay with us for the rubber game of the series coming up in just a moment.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. The stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Electric Avenue Montgomery Ward, the store for great prices on brand name electronics and appliances. Pepsi, drink Pepsi, get stuffed. Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide. And by Southwest Airlines, celebrating 25 years of low fares, frequent flights, and fun.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Wayne Larrabee. And look at here. I took off my jacket. I took off my sweater. I'm working in short sleeves. Summer, folks, is finally here, right?
Well, the weather is gorgeous today, and hopefully things will work out a little better for the Cubs than they did yesterday. And they've got Jamie Navarro going to the mound. He threw a gem at Florida, went the distance, and he's opposed by Terry Mulholland. Mulholland got perhaps the best pickoff move to first base, so he nullifies the running game. And I have to say one thing, Wayne. Everybody talks about the Cubs pitching, but unfortunately, they're at the bottom end of the National League in hitting.
Yeah, they came through a tough stretch of hitting where we ran into pitching staffs like Atlanta and Florida. But this is a homestand where the Cubs hope they can make some hay with the bats. Split so far with Philadelphia. They go for the rubber bats today, and then Montreal in over the weekend.
Well, the sad note, I think, is Ray Sanchez. It looks like he's going to be out for a while. And he wasn't hitting much, but boy, he really helped with his glove. An outstandingly good defensive shortstop.
Well, now Jose Hernandez is going to get his opportunity to try to show what he can do. You remember last year, he had 13 home runs off the bench. He's a very solid defensive player and has come in defensively at third base in a flip-flop batting order. Now he's getting an opportunity to play every day. And I look to have him supply a little more power for the Cubs, Wayne, because he can hit the ball out of the park.
And you know, Steve, I talked with him. He is a utility ball player, and he has performed at several different positions, as Steve mentioned, not the least of which is center field on occasion for the Cubs. But his natural position is shortstop, and Harry, that's the position he's most comfortable with, and he should provide some decent defense.
Oh, he'll play an adequate shortstop, no doubt about that, but let's get some runs. You know, we have a chance to win the second straight, 2 out of 3. And if you can win every series 2 out of 3, you can win your division easily.
Yeah, there's no question about that. But again, the hitting, you're hoping that they rebound a little bit here at home with the bats. They're batting .241 last in the National League in hitting. But this is a team that hopefully, and a pitcher in Terry Mulholland, that they can get a hold of and really make some hay on, a left-hander.
You know, fellas, the thing that bothers me when you talk about hitting, you only got one home run hitter in the whole lineup. If he doesn't connect, the only guy that might account for 2, 3 runs, 4 runs sometimes with one swing of the bat. Other teams have 3, 4, 5 of those kind of guys.
Well, I think a couple of surprises this year. One has been Ryan Sandberg. He's hit 11 home runs, and Scott Service has hit 9. So you're getting some power there. But we're never going to be known as a power-laden ball club, Harry.
Well, maybe someday we will. Defensive alignment for the Cubs, Timmons in left, McRae in center, Sosa in right, Gomez at third, Hernandez at short, Sandberg at second, Grace at first. Jamie Navarro on the mound, Scott Service behind the plate, and the umpires are Bruce Fremming behind the plate, Charlie Williams at first, Steve Ripley at second, and Mark Hirschbeck at third. You know, it's with real sadness. Everybody in our business, I'm sure, knows this man, knows of him. Knew him somewhere along the line. We worked with him a number of years when we were doing the White Sox games on WMAQ. He retired a few years ago, and Joe Corneo, our assistant producer and director, passed along the sad information that our good friend Dan Hozak has passed away. Certainly our sincere sympathy and condolences to his family. A wonderful guy, a long-time worker in radio, Dan Hozak, no longer with us. All right, we're ready to play baseball. And Do you think Seattle's got any chance against the Bulls? Maybe I ought to ask that of Wayne.
Well, I think they have a chance here. I just don't think they're going to beat them. But certainly, if they do have an opportunity to break through on the home court, it would be in the ball game tonight because of the long layoff. You don't know how the Bulls are going to adjust to that. But I think just the fact that Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan and the fact that the Bulls play so well as a team together, I think they'll beat them. But I think tonight is something that they might be a little wary of.
You know, running a close second in attention and publicity, Princess Di, who's in our great city. I haven't seen her at the ballpark yet. There's rumors around she'll be here. But I imagine she has a lot of things to do. Everything I look down at refers to her making an appearance. She is a very attractive young lady, of course. Well, the Cardinals are still in first place, a half a game ahead of Houston. And then three teams, the Cubs, the Reds, the Pirates, are all 4 games out. I see Bruce Fleming, the plate umpire, great umpire, and I can't help. I started to talk about that autographing business yesterday. You know, with all the negative things happening to our athletes in our game and our sports, and then the worst public relations thing I ever heard of. Imagine complaining about an umpire getting a couple autographed baseballs from various ball players in the league to give to certain charities or to hold for auctions for charities, as Bruce Fleming has done for not this year, many, many years. And somebody's complaining about it. I guess the only guy with force enough to have his name mentioned about his objection would be the league president, Coleman. And I find it hard to believe that a trivial thing like that would come into that kind of attention. But that's the world we're living in. You never know what you're going to read about or what you're going to read about.
Jamie Navarro last time out against Florida was brilliant. He went the distance, gave up 7 hits, just 1 earned run. He's faced the Phillies 1 time in his life. That was last year. He went 8 1/3 innings, and he's 1-0 with no earned run average. So today, they have to take the bunt away from Otero. With that in mind, Gomez is as close as you'd want to be at third base.
Otero takes the pitch a little bit low and inside. I want to qualify what is said about what you read and also what you see or hear on the half of what you see and hear on the radio and television also. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, look how close Gomez is. And I think Otero was aiming that swing right for him. Now Leo drops back a few feet, and Grace also drops back at first base. This is a very impressive little guy. 5'5", 140 pounds. No. Fouls it off again.
Last year, Jamie had a lot of success with the split finger fastball, a lot like what Steve Traxel is using this year. Jamie's gotten away from that somewhat, but I think he's going to go back to it a time or two today, along with a good slider.
Line drive, sharply hit foul. Boy, the rooftops are well populated around the ballpark. Well, folks, enjoy yourself today. You can't sit on the roof and watch the Bulls tonight. You'll have to be inside at a price. Here's a high fly ball, will be caught. Brian McRae shading his eyes. 1 gone. Otero is finally retired. That brings up Mickey Morandini.
Now, Morandini, also a bunt threat. He doesn't do it often, but he's been watching Otero. And Otero's got so much mileage out of that bunt that Morandini is trying it on occasion. And so Gomez is in fairly close at third on Morandini. You don't have to worry about Inky bunting, however.
Here's the pitch a little bit low. They got Inky and Dinky. And I tell you, little Dinky hits the ball almost as hard as Big Inky. who yesterday hit 2 3-run homers for 6 RBIs with 2 swings of the bat. 2 balls, no strikes. Boy, Morandini had a cut but missed. Oh, look at the averages. Can you believe? Rodriguez of Montreal, they'll be here Friday, you know. Leads the league in homers with 21. Not only that, here's a foul ball out of play. He also leads in runs batted in. Oh, he's 2 behind Bagwell in that department. He leads in slugging percentage and extra base hits, Henry Rodriguez. Boy, he's become a big star overnight. Pitches inside. When he's with the Dodgers, he was a utility outfielder. Now given a chance to play, he is red hot. Fouled it off his leg. 3-2. That's the thing about baseball, Steve. It doesn't take many weeks or many games or many feats to suddenly make you a national name.
Especially when you have the type of coverage that baseball has these days.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Inside, Morandini gets a base on ball.
And he's the best base runner on this team at 18 for 18 in the stolen base department. So you have to beware of him, and you've got a man who came off the shelf straight off the disabled list to go 4 for 5 yesterday, and Greg Jeffries.
That was really a remarkable display by Greg Jeffries. He was hurt early in April. Had suffered a broken thumb sliding into a base head first. Yesterday was the first game he played after a 2-month layoff, strike call. The first time up, he hit the very first pitch down the left field line for 2 bases. The next time up, he hit the very same first pitch down the right field line for 2 bases. Wound up with 4 out of 5. Jeffries. Double play ball. Out at second for 1. Out at 2 for 2. 6 for 3 and out. We go in the bottom of the first, no score. Gray, Sandberg, and Grace. Sosa, Gomez, and Timmons. Service, Hernandez, and Jamie Navarro on the mound. The defense for the Phillies, Incaviglia, Otero, and Eisenreich. Zeal, Benjamin, Morandini, and Jeffries around the infield. McRae fouls off the first pitch. Terry Mulholland, who has a record of 8 games won and 8 lost for his career against Cub teams.
Mulholland throws a few more sliders than fastballs, and he throws high fastballs.
There's a high pop fly. Carries out pretty good. In the right field, easy out. Eisenreich takes care of McRae's fly ball, 1 away.
There you look at the numbers on Terry Mulholland. He's got very good control. Even in the days when the Philadelphia staff was the wildest staff in the National League, Mulholland always got the ball over the plate. He's got a great move to first base, so he pretty much nullifies the running game. But because he throws a lot of high fastballs, he's going to throw a lot of fly balls, and the wind is blowing straight out today, although it isn't blowing out all that briskly.
Here's Sandberg. First pitch in there, a strike call. Tomorrow's an off day. Montreal comes in for a Friday day game, a Saturday night game, and a day game Sunday. 1 strike to nothing. Line drive, center field. Otero, did he make the catch? He trapped the ball. He slipped as he started in for the ball, or he'd have probably caught it. A single for Sandberg. Hard hit line drive. Now watch Otero. It trapped it. So that brings up Mark Grace. Grace 1 out of 8 in the series. You know, Sandberg's always hit well against Mulholland. He's had 6 home runs off Mulholland during his career. And Grace has 3. And he too has hit pretty well. 299 against Mulholland. There's a high drive center field, but Otero goes back near the warning track. Grace hit the ball well, but out.
Sandberg did a pretty nice job. When he realized that Otero was going to set up and he knew he would make the catch, he ran back to first base. And if Otero had caught this ball backpedaling, he would have been able to move to second. But Otero does set up. He's able to set himself, and Sandberg took a couple of steps, see where the relay throw was coming, and then had to retreat to the bag, but it's a heads-up play.
Here's Sammy Sosa. He's hit only 160 against Mulholland, 4 out of 25 during his career.
Harry, I think he's going to hit a home run today off Terry.
There's a strike call. I tell you, that's an observation you can make every time he comes up. He
No, there's
might hit a home run.
some days you just feel it. I think he's going to hit one today off Mulholland.
1 strike to nothing. That evens the count, a ball on the strike.
Terry's only given up 6 home runs in 65 innings, but he has given up 84 hits. And there's home run leaders at home, and Sosa 1 behind Rodriguez.
Sosa 2 out of 7 in the series. There's a high fly ball. Might drop on the run. Eyes on the right. Makes a good catch. To retire the side, no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. At the end of 1, there is no score. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Wayne Larrabee. We go on the top of the second. And Big Inky comes up to lead it off.
Incaviglia's been hitting the ball to right field, and that's one of the reasons why his batting average for him is up there in the 290s. You know he's going to hit home runs. You figure he's going to drive in runs. But having a batting average that close to 300 is unusual for Incaviglia. But that's because Dennis Menke has him using right field, and we've seen him 3 times use right field in this series for base hits.
He's 4 out of 6 in the 2 previous games. And 2 3-run homers yesterday. Curveball outside. A happy belated birthday to Pooch Willering at Riverview Manor Nursing Home in Pleasant Valley, Florida. Well, Morandini and McRae, of course, are now tied for the lead in stolen bases, each having 18. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ooh. Boy, man, he takes a good cut.
Well, if Jamie throws that slider away, keeps it down, he's going to get Incaviglia. At times when Inky starts to press, and with the wind blowing out now toward left field, Inky might be trying to pull everything. Let's see if this is a good slider.
Hey, he made him look bad on that slider, and he struck him out.
From the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera, we'll take a look at one of the better sliders Jamie's thrown. This one breaks late, breaks sharply, and it's in a perfect spot when you're ahead of the hitter. So Incaviglia down on strikes.
The 8th graders from Batesville, Indiana are here in a big group. Pat May and Grishanda Dale, Montgomery Ward celebrity bat boy and bat girl here today. There are the youngsters, Pat May and Grishanda Dale. Congratulations. 1-1 pitch. Strike 2 call. Wayne Messmer sang our national anthem today, as only he can. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball knocked down. Navarro throws the first. He knocked the ground ball down with his bare hand. He says he's okay.
Well, you don't like to see a pitcher do this, but it is a reflex action. And Jamie just reaches down. This one isn't hit all that hard, but he's able to make the play and throw out Zio.
Well, the Cub Farm Clubs are one victory and 2 defeats last night. Iowa won its game over Indianapolis 6-4. Rockford lost to Wisconsin 9-5. And Daytona lost to Vero Beach 3-2. A tough day. Cubs lost 12-3. There's the base hit. Jim Eisenreich singled to left center.
Cub fans, Thursday, June 13th is Dunkin' Donuts Beverage Mug Night at Wrigley Field. The first 10,000 adults attending the Cubs-Padres game receives a Cub beverage mug, compliments of Dunkin' Donuts. For tickets, stop by the Wrigley Field box office, any Ticketmaster Ticket Center, or call 312-831-CUBS.
Ray Sanchez has been put on the disabled list. He's operated on today. There's a drive. Santiago cut off by McGray. May hold him to third. He does. Santiago double the left center.
Benito Santiago had a great year last year with Cincinnati, and he's starting to pick it up here in Philadelphia. This is a fastball right down the middle. McRae does a nice job of cutting this ball off. If he doesn't get it back into the infield quickly, Eisenreich is going to score from first base. But no way Larry Boa is going to test the arm of Jose Hernandez, because he's got a rocket for an arm at shortstop. So I'm not sure if they want to mess around here with Benjamin or just move right on to Mulholland. Benjamin has been all everything.
They're going to pitch to him. Runners at second and third, 2 out. He swings and misses. Benjamin has worn the Cubs out all during his career. In this series, he's 4 out of 7. Batting .304. Mulholland, fine hitting pitcher, who's hit one of the longest home runs of the year for the Phillies. And that's probably why they're pitching to Benjamin. 0-2. Navarro. Check him out over the outside corner. No run, 2 hits, 2 left. Going to bottom of the second, no score. Line drive on the first pitch, a base hit. Gomez singles sharply to center.
From the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera, take a look at a high fastball drilled into center field. Terry throws a lot of high fastballs. They turn into line drives and fly balls. And you've got to beware the move of Mulholland. Look at the lead of Leo Gomez at first base. He could fall back to the bag.
Ozzie Timmons swings and misses. Boy, Zeal playing very deep at third.
Mulholland's got a good slider. He throws it in on the hands of the right-hander.
High fastball, evens the count, 1-1.
Terry's started a business in Arizona where he spends the winter, and it's called 4 Golf. And they design and operate golf courses. He's got a project up and running in Gilbert right now, and he's pretty excited about it.
Swung and he missed. Gilbert's only a few miles from Phoenix, right?
Well, from Mesa, sure. It's right down the road from Mesa. Ground ball, double plays. Terry Mulholland, and he gets those ground balls on that good slider to the right-hand hitter.
There's a smash foul. That ball was hit hard. Boy, you got to feel for Timmons. The young guy would like to play every day. There's no place to play him every day. And with very few left-handers around, he seldom gets a play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is the kind of ball player like Henry Rodriguez. He's lucky enough to get with a team where they have to play him every day. He might become the same kind of star that Henry Rodriguez has become.
If he gets an inside slider, there's a little room between Zeal and the bag, and he just might take it down that way.
Ball high, ball 3.
It's really a gamble running with Mulholland. You've got a man behind the plate in Santiago who throws from his knees as well as he does from a standing position, and you can't get a lead on Mulholland.
I can't figure out. There's a high fly ball. Otero's there. Under it, makes the catch. 1 away. I really can't figure out why Santiago has played with so many ball clubs. He seems to me like one of the best catchers in recent days.
Well, Harry, what happened to him was he got up to a pretty high salary with San Diego, and then became a free agent. And if you remember, a lot of players at Homestead during the strike years, he came back. They offered him just a decent salary, not a great one.
Here's a ground ball to Zeal. Out at second. Out at first. Double play. 5, 4, 3. At the end of 2, no score. Third with no score. My son-in-law, Coley Newell, celebrating a birthday today. And tomorrow, his son, my grandson, Brendan, will be 2 years old. Coley, a few years older. So happy birthday to both of you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Coley and Brendan. Happy birthday to you. That ought to keep me out of the doghouse for a few more weeks. Top of the 3rd. Strike call. Mulholland has hit a homer earlier this year, and it was a tape measure job. He swings and he misses. Well, Holland hitting 190 with 4 out of 21. Home run included. Struck him out with a slider. 1 out. Oh, I knew we were missing something. Which of these players has the most continuous tenure with his respective club? The Aflac trivia question. Oh, I'd have to say Ozzie. Ozzie Smith. What do you think?
That's a dandy.
I know you're figuring what Arnie's
trying to figure out
purpose in putting those names up there is.
Sure, let's see it again. Now, are you considering the time off that Rhino had? Oh, considering the time off as time played. Ah, there's the rub.
I'm a believing guy. I'm a trusting guy. I never look for any scheme.
Well, I'll take Rhino.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Chuck Otero out. Throw to first. Hey, that's 3 strikeouts in a row for Jamie.
And I like the fact that Jamie took a little something off this one, because when he was struggling, he had a tendency to just throw everything around the same speed. Hard fastball, hard slider. Here he pulls the string on Otero. He has him well out in front. And if Jamie can do that, he's going to be in good shape. There's the Southwest Airlines plain view camera high atop Wrigley Field, giving you those beautiful shots around home plate.
2 out. And here is Mickey Mardini. Hey, is Abraham down there? He's usually around on Wednesday. Ground ball, easy out. Grace unassisted. We go to the bottom of the third, no score. Long after this inning, the pitch. High fly ball. Hit deep, deep. Otero going back. Near the warning track makes the catch. Hernandez, who won the first game Monday night with a home run, almost reached the center field bleachers today. Is that Abraham? Yeah.
Did you buy him that hat?
Yeah.
That's a dandy.
I think Princess D got him that hat. He knows when you put him on, Arnie. Here's the pitch a little bit low. And he has many, many relatives in Mexico. So our ratings probably go up when you show them. There's the whole family. Abraham is our famous chef at Harry Carey's in downtown Chicago. Coley Newell runs the wheeling store. Here's the pitch. Easy out.
One of the members of our crew, Mandy Cohn, was having some auto problems earlier, and she'd like to thank Lewis Auto Shop for helping her out and allowing her to come to the ball game.
What happened?
Yes, she got locked out of her car, Harry, so they
You
came
don't
in.
mean she was locked up?
No, locked out as opposed to locked up.
I'm glad you made it, Mandy. Even though you never come up and see your old friends anymore.
Well, you get those huge promotions, Harry, and you forget the little people that
Yes,
help you out on
right.
the way up.
Well, we're going to make Joe Grube a big person, too. And I'll move him into the truck, and we'll get the same disdainful treatment from him.
Pretty soon they'll have to expand the truck.
1 ball, 1 strike on McRae. Fouls it off.
Mulholland changing speeds today. He's been in and out this year. He's been much better on the road. In his 5 road starts, he's 4-0 with a 1.88 ERA. Where he's had his problems has been at home.
You know, I think McRae seems to have a better swing left-handed. I don't know. There's a base hit right-handed in the left field.
Well, Harry, right-handed is his natural side, but like most switch hitters, you really have to pay attention in batting practice to the right side because you're seeing the preponderance of right-hand pitchers. So if you're getting 80% of your at-bats as a left-hander, even if the right side is your natural side, you're usually going to hit better from that side. So Brian McRae now on, and you don't want to get too aggressive with Mulholland because he will pick you off in a heartbeat.
There's Rhino's single his first time up. Out of these 41 hits, 19 of them have been for extra bases. That's almost 50%. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 out. No score. High fly ball, gonna be caught. Eisenreich coming in, but Otero makes the catch on the run. So it's no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. As I mentioned, Wayne will be coming along. Harry Carey from Wrigley Field, where at the end of 3, there is no score.
This effort by Hernandez, but Grace can't come up with it. It might go as a base hit, but now it's got to go as an error also. So it goes as a base hit and an error.
So a rocky start here to the top of the 4th inning for the Cubs, and Greg Jeffries, it seems like he and Benjamin are on base almost constantly when they're playing against the Cubs.
Well, Dennis Menke, talking about Greg Jeffries, said, look, if you're a 300 hitter, even if you spend time on the disabled list, when you come off, you're still going to be a 300 hitter. He came off 4 for 5 yesterday, and he's showing no signs of that hand injury that put him on the shelf.
Here's the hitter, Pete Incaviglia. Incaviglia hit into a 6-4-3 double play in the first. Takes the pitch outside for ball one. Let's pause here for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
1 ball, no strikes to count on Pete Incaviglia. Pitch up high.
Let's watch the play again. Hernandez does a nice job of getting to it and sets himself. And Grace can't come up with it. Normally, Mark gets a glove on these. This time he didn't.
2 balls and no strikes to count on Incaviglia. Chops it on the ground left side. Hernandez chases the runner back to second, makes the throw in time to first, and 1 away.
Well, Jeffries almost got caught. He almost did the same thing Lee Tinsley did, then realized that ground ball was in front of him, and he went back to the bag. This is a real tough hop for Jose Hernandez. Watch this hop. It comes right up, and he comes up with it. And a lesson for all you youngsters, keep the glove down so you can come up with the hop. If you set the glove high and the ball flattens out, it's going to go through your leg.
Brings up Todd Zeile, who hit a smash back to the box that Jamie Navarro knocked down with his bare hand. Slider outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
It wasn't a real good at bat for Incaviglia because he didn't move along Jeffrey. And in a 0-0 game, now it takes a base hit to score him from second instead of a fly ball.
1 ball, no strikes, and Navarro bluffs the runner back to first. Of course, if you're looking at it from the Phillies' point of view, Inky got you 2 3-run homers yesterday. What more do you want?
Well, he got him. He got him 1 to right field, and yesterday was yesterday.
1 ball, no strikes. There's a strike. 1-1. Hit that 3-run homer in the 4th inning. To right field, as you mentioned, and that was part of that big 6-run 4th. It blew the game open. 1 ball, 1 strike, runner on second, and again Navarro bluffs to the bag, but nobody close enough to take a throw. Todd Zeile leads this club in RBIs with 35 and doubles with 12. And that just missed. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Steve, Zeile played last year here in Chicago, and it was somewhat disappointing from an offensive standpoint, but he played with an injured hand most of the year, didn't he?
He had a thumb injury. He kept getting jammed, and it never really came back. This year, he says he feels 100% healthy.
2-1 pitch. Fouled back in. It's 2-2. Day off tomorrow, then Henry Rodriguez and the Montreal Expos come to town over the weekend. And that should be a good series. We were most impressed with Montreal. We caught them before they went to the West Coast and lost some steam. They were playing real good when we saw them. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Low and away, and the count fills to 3-2. The answer to the Affleck question, I would have guessed Ozzie Smith. Cal Ripken.
And I was there then and still missed it. How about that?
15 years ago. You were a teammate of his?
Yes, sir.
He must have been a young pup when you were there. On the ground right side, taken by the second baseman Sandberg. That moves the runner Jeffries on to third, but 2 men down.
In fact, at the time, it was Earl Weaver who made a decision that turned into gold because everybody had slotted Cal Ripken for third base.
Really?
Doug DeSentis was there at the time. And he said, I think that even though he's 6'4", I think he can play shortstop, and he put him in at shortstop. Well, it's worked out fairly well after that.
Here's Jim Eisenreich. Eisenreich singled his first trip, takes a pitch up high and away for ball 1.
Although Cal probably hasn't been as durable as you might have liked.
No, obviously not. Yeah, you know, he'll have to put a few more games together to impress you, I'm sure. Pitch down low in the dirt, gets away from service. First run of the game, crosses the plate. Greg Jeffries scores. A tough handle in the dirt for Scott's service. We'll take a look and see how it goes.
Well, Navarro had 3 wild pitches early, and then he hasn't made one in about 8 or 9 starts. But this one gets away from service, goes to his 4th wild pitch. Here comes Jeffries trying to protect his head, and he scores the first run of the game.
There it is. It skips away from Scott's service.
Hard slider, and Scott went down, but the ball bounced off his bicep and bounded away.
2 balls and no strikes. The count on Eisenreich with the bases empty. Backhanded by Sandberg. His throw doesn't have much on it. Pulled Grace off the bag, and Eisenreich is in there with an infield base hit.
Rhino double clutched. I don't think he had a handle on this ball, and by the time he got it across, he couldn't get anything on the throw. So he makes a good effort getting to the ball. And right here, you see it, he just doesn't have a grip on it. And then by the time he is drifted away from the play, and the swipe tag misses.
2 out. Eisenreich at first for Benito Santiago. He doubled to left center in the 2nd inning.
Santiago has really adjusted his batting stance. He's moved well off the plate. This is as far away from the plate as we've seen him. He had a big contract with the Florida Marlins. Then they chose not to renew it, went on to Cincinnati for about 20% of what he made in Florida.
Fouled back against the screen for strike 1. And Steve, I think you made a good point. This is a very fine catcher, especially from an offensive standpoint, and he has a good arm.
He's got a great arm, and when he first came up, he was very difficult to run against. Then he went into a throwing slump, and they tried to get him out of the habit of throwing from his knees, but as we've seen in this series, he'll do it and do it pretty well.
Here's the 1-strike pitch that's up high, and it's 1-1. The reason he's moved around so much is because of the economics of the game today. Had 11 homers and 44 runs batted in or thereabouts at Cincinnati last year. But the Reds, in their austerity moves, could not afford him, and thus he moves on to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia knew that Darren Dalton's days behind the plate were numbered because of all of the knee problems. They tried to slot him into left field. They still believe that Dalton will be back sometime after the All-Star break. Things not looking quite as positive for Lenny Dykstra, and they believe that he just might be lost for the year, and the injury might be career-threatening.
The 1-1 pitch, and that's a little high. It's 2 balls and 1 strike on Benito Santiago.
Dykstra had back problems continuously the last few years. Then he hurt his side, and he couldn't do his back exercises, and things just started to snowball to the point where he could just barely walk around. And they really are worried about Lenny Dykstra and his future as a baseball player. He's meant a lot to this organization.
2-1 the count. 2 out, runner on first, and a fly ball into right field. Sosa coming hard, still coming, and it drops in down the line. Eisenreich rounding third. They're going to send him home. Here comes the throw, and he slides home safely.
Well, that was a great slide by Eisenreich as he slid by the outstretched leg of Service and touched the plate with his hand, and a run should not have scored on this ball. Somebody's got to take control. Sandberg looking for Sosa. Sosa can't get to it. Then Sandberg misses it. Sosa can't get to it, and by the time he does, the run scores. And watch the slide. He slides by the plate but gets it with his hand. A good effort right there.
It goes as a double RBI, and the batter takes third on the throw. The throw coming into the plate there. So the Phillies lead it by the score of 2-0. And Mike Benjamin at the plate takes strike 1. And again, as seems to happen to Jamie more often than anyone else on the staff, little things cost him in ball games. Pitch hit high and deep to left field, and it is gone. That wasn't little. That was pretty big by Mike Benjamin. A 2-run homer, 4 runs in the inning, and it's a 4-0 lead for Philadelphia.
Well, you know, you're only down 2-0, and even though you pitch to Benjamin with runners at second and third the first time up, you throw to Benjamin again here, and he burns you. I'm not sure I understand this. This fastball's right down the middle. And certainly if Jamie is distracted by the play in right field, it would account for this location, but difficult decision.
Mulholland at the plate hacks away for strike one. Mulholland, a strikeout victim in the third. I mentioned the little things. Infield base hit by Jeffries. Infield hit by Eisenreich. Wild pitch scores 1 run. Then a bloop double down the right field line that falls between Sosa and Sandberg. That scores. And then the 2-run homer. Pitch taken outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. The little things, and then all of a sudden a big hit, like the homer by Benjamin off the screen behind the stands in left field. And here's another broken bat base hit. You're talking about one really well hit ball in this entire inning, and the Phillies have 5 hits in the inning and 4 runs in.
Scott Service going to the mound to talk to Jamie Navarro, shaking his head, most disappointed. Fergie Jenkins coming out. Nobody up in the bullpen to this point. And after the gem that Jamie threw at Florida, this is going to be a little disappointing for him.
Bullpen, as you mentioned, springs to action. Jamie trying to compose himself. He only needs 1 more out here.
But, Wayne, you know, there's a couple things that come into play. Yes, it was a tough inning for Navarro. Yes, a couple of balls could have been played differently, but he's still only 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And instead of maybe regaining his composure, making some good pitches, if you are indeed going to pitch to Benjamin, he threw that fastball right down the middle. It was just a little above the belt, and Benjamin doubled the lead in a hurry.
Mulholland at first, and Otero the hitter. He popped it up. Foul territory. Scott Service giving chase. Does he have room? Nope. It's 2 rows deep. Scott went into the screen for that one. So it's strike 1 on Ricky Otero. Infield single by Greg Jeffries. Moved to second on an error by Jose Hernandez. Pete Incaviglia grounded out. 6-3, the runner at second. Zeal grounded out 4-3. The runner moves to third. Scores on a wild pitch. Infield single Eisenreich. Double Benito Santiago driving home Eisenreich. And that double was just a bloop pop fly down the right field line. And then Mike Benjamin on an 0-1 pitch delivers the home run over the left field stands. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looked like Scott Service wants the fastball there. And it's off the glove of Hernandez into shallow left field. Moving on to third base is Mulholland, and the Phillies have runners at the corners.
Well, this inning is starting to deteriorate. Jose Hernandez giving you full extension. His best effort at the top of his jump. It barely hits off the end of the glove. And Otero has his first hit of the day. So yesterday was a 6-run 4th inning, and today the Phillies making life miserable for Jamie Navarro and the Cubs here in their half of the 4th. Good effort by Hernandez. He's just playing him a half an inch too short.
Mickey Morandini is the 9th hitter in the inning for Philadelphia. Morandini walked in the first, grounded out to Grace in the third. 2 out, 2 on. 4 runs in. Pitch up high for ball 1. Navarro doesn't get a lot of run support. At least he hasn't so far this season. Cubs are averaging about 3 runs per game for him, a little over 3 runs a game. 2 balls and no strikes. What is it with these fourth innings? I get over here and the opposition goes wild. Harry's held him down the first 3 frames, and boom. 2-0 pitch, and that's fouled off. You know what? Maybe I should start coming into the 6th. What do you think? Just change it up a little bit, huh?
You never know. Just come in a different time every day. Surprise the folks.
That way we keep them off guard. That way there's no 4- and 6-run 4th innings here. You know, these people that don't know what to expect. 2 balls and 1 strike. Runners at the corners. 2 men down. Pitch is hit toward the gap, left center field, but Louis can make that. Ozzie Timmons has range for it and makes the catch, and the inning is over. But the Phillies 4 runs on 6 hits. There was an error and 2 left. Middle of the fourth. It's now Philadelphia 4, Chicago nothing. Ice cream cone there or whatever. Mark Grace leads it off for the Cubs in the bottom of the fourth inning and takes strike one call. Grace flying out deep to center field in the first. And here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mark came in 2 for 15 in his last 4 games. He'd like to get himself on track here. Been hitting well prior to that. Pitch up high, and it's 2-1.
Mulholland has averaged 6 innings per start. This is his 12th start. And a lot like Florida with Rob Nen, you want to keep Ricky Bottalico out of the game. He is the big save man for this ball club, and he's one of the best short relievers in the game right now.
And Terry Mulholland has been much better on the road than he has at home. Boy, if I were the Phillies, I wouldn't even think about starting him at the bat. But on the road, wow. So he is going to be a tough customer to solve for the Cubs here this afternoon. 3-1 pitch to Grace, and there's a base hit. That's a start. Single by Grace to right field. The Cubs have their leadoff man aboard.
Alan Siegel of Mancari, Chrysler Plymouth, and Orland Hills. Also Dominic Marino of Patrick, Chrysler Plymouth, and Libertyville on hand. And the best day we've had in Chicago for baseball in quite some time.
For Cubs baseball. Is there any other kind?
Don't think so.
I don't
Except
either.
those folks on the south side have really been tuning it up. They're just a game behind Cleveland.
They are
Sox
rolling.
hot.
They are rolling. Swing and a miss by Sosa, who flied out to right. His first trip. Fernandez, I believe, was one last night, didn't he? There's the GN box. All the GN programming people are on hand. There we go. How you doing, folks? Those are the people who take care of our expense reports, Stoney. God bless them. They also give us rain delay theater. Fly ball, center field, well hit. Otero watches it sail, and it is gone!
Well, Wayne, when I told Harry that Sammy was going to hit a home run off Terry Mulholland today, he said, well, you could say that most of the time. I said, I just had a feeling today was his day. And he halves the lead. The Cubs only trail by 2. That one went all the way up the hitting background, and that was a bomb.
I think it went to about the last row in that hitting background. And Sammy Sosa's 18th home run. RBIs 41 and 42 for the season. A promising start, to say the least, to the bottom of the fourth. And here's Leo Gomez. 1 for 1. A single to right center in the second inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Leo had been hitless in his last 4 games, 0 for 8. Chopped it on the ground to short. Benjamin the throw in time to Jeffries, and there's 1 away.
Let's take another look at it. A mammoth home run by Sammy Sosa. He gets it down, which is where he wants it, and takes it way back. Otero gives it the courtesy look, but this one is long gone.
Yeah, it hit that top row in the hitter's background. My goodness. So a bomb, as you said, from Sammy Sosa. The Cubs are right back in this game, trailing by just 2. Ozzie Timmons, the hitter. Did he check his swing? They appeal to first base, and Charlie Williams says, nope, ball 1. Ozzie just 4 hits in his last 35 at bats, and this is a guy the Cubs would dearly like to get on track. But the problem for Ozzie is that he never gets enough at bats due to the preponderance of right-handed pitching in Major League Baseball today. 1 ball and 1 strike.
For Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 447 long happy feet.
Yes, indeed. That would have been just short of the monuments in the old Yankee Stadium. The 1-1 pitch. Popped it up down the right field line, but it's safely foul and out of play.
Well, Ozzie Timmons going to get some action in the Montreal series because Jeff Fassero will face Frank Castillo in the first game on Friday. He's a left-hander. And Kirk Reeder will face Steve Traxel in the finale on Sunday, and he's a left-hander. Sandwiched in between, Pedro Martinez against Amari Telemaco on Saturday, and that a Saturday night game.
1-2 pitch is upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And then we come home, and we're going to see some good pitching with what, San Diego and L.A. coming to town, right?
Well, that's after the Philadelphia trip.
Yeah, after the Philadelphia 3-game series. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Timmons puts a charge into this one, but he got under it just a bit. Ricky Otero in left center makes the catch, and they're 2 men down.
Ken Caminiti is back in action and playing pretty well for San Diego. But as you know, we talked about it yesterday, Wally Joyner has lost to that team for a minimum of 6 weeks, maybe more. San Diego atop the West, playing good solid baseball despite not having a whole lot of power on that team, but Caminiti's presence in the lineup makes them a whole lot tougher.
Cardinals beat them last night 11-5, but Kajzik got the win in that game. Now 4-0. Worrell suffered the loss. Strike 1 called on Scott Service, hit into a 5-4-3 double play to end the 2nd inning. Pittsburgh shut out L.A. last night. Fly ball into right field. On the run, Eisenreich to the line, runs out of room. Boy, the fan reached out and made a catch. How about that? Reached right over the wall and caught it on the fly. Better him than that guy. Watch this. How about that? Eisenreich might have had a play on that.
Or he might have gotten a face burger for his efforts because he was turning away.
That's true.
Trying not to get hit by it.
No balls and 2 strikes. And Scott takes advantage. Well-placed base hit down the right field line. And Service a big turn to the first base bag. That grass is almost U.S. Open length rough in the outfield here at Wrigley Field. And that ball just died down the line.
Well, you can understand with all the rain we've had how the grass would grow and be tough to cut. And now Jose Hernandez with a chance to tie it up with a long ball. And you can expect Jose now to start swinging the bat a little better because he's going to get to play every day. Hitting off the bench is a very difficult task. He had 13 home runs off the bench last year. He was off to a slow start this year, but now as the man will be at shortstop for quite some time after the surgery to the hand of Ray Sanchez, Jose could really help this team.
And we wish Ray all the best, and hopefully we'll see him back here first part of August perhaps. And certainly that hand injury had to affect his hitting style this year. A lot of fly balls, and Ray just trying to play through the pain, just couldn't quite get it done, and did the best thing, and that is take care of the injury and hopefully return 100% for the last couple of months of the season and finish up strong. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Jose Hernandez. 2 men down, and he swings at some high gas. Mulholland climbing the ladder on him that time. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Phillies put a 4 spot on the board in the top half of this inning. The Cubs have come back on a 2-run homer by Sosa. Called strike 3 on Jose Hernandez, and the inning is over. 2 runs on 3 hits. No errors at a man left. End of 4. Phillies 4, Cubs 2. This is a couple of weeks of field trips before the end of school, and then the kids will be here every day. How about that? 4-2 Phillies. We go to the top of the 5th, and the Phillies send up the meat of the order. Jeffries, Incaviglia, and Zeal to face Jamie Navarro, who suffered through a 4-run, 6-hit 4th inning.
Well, there's a long way to go in this one. You figure to do a little more scoring against Terry Mulholland. So Jamie Navarro has to put last inning out of his mind and look ahead because this is going to be a tough inning for him. He's got to get out of it, turn it back over to his offense.
Jeffries, first pitch to him, off the glove of Grace into right field, a base hit. Jeffries a big turn, but Sosa up with it. Scored a base hit. Took a bad hop on Grace.
Well, there's been a couple of bad hops in that infield today. Mark Grace staying with this one, and all of a sudden it came to him with a lot of overspin and just took that high hop. The ball actually went under the glove as Mark Grace tried to anticipate where it would go. You watch it here. Justifiably scored a base hit.
That brings up Pete Incaviglia. Quiet today. Yesterday, a couple of home runs and 6 RBIs.
I think he's the original good man for 2 if you can get him to hit the ball on the ground.
Hammered foul on the right side, but he's more often than not a fly ball hitter, and he only has hit into one ground ball double play this year.
Fly ball or strikeout. National League best lines yesterday. 6 runs batted in for Inky. Klesko, another big day. And John Cangelosi now playing center field for Houston. Having a good day. He hit that home run right-handed.
Did they move Hunter into left field? Checked his swing, and that's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm not sure if he played left field yesterday or not.
They were talking about doing something with him.
I think they wanted to shift him out of center where he's had some problems defensively. Cangelosi, pretty handy man to have around. He always has a high on base percentage.
1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody out. Runner on first, and the pitch is dumped foul behind home plate in the upper deck, out of play.
Well, now if Jamie can throw the good slider, keep it low and away, one of 2 things are going to happen. He's going to strike him out or get the ground ball to the left side. Inky looks like he's intent on trying to pull Jamie today. The wind is blowing toward the left field corner. And you have to keep your eye on Jeffrey.
Yeah, the classic Wrigley Field scoreboard. Often imitated, never really copied very well. When you see that, you know exactly where you are. Pitch down low, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Chicago today. And we anticipate a good weekend homestand coming up against the Montreal Expos, one of the surprise teams in baseball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jeffries chased back to first base.
Philadelphia 4th in stolen bases. They've swiped 56. And they've been remarkably successful. They've only been thrown out 11 times. Jamie Navarro, home runs per inning pitch.
Popped it up. Grace may have a play on it. Service giving a look, and it's about 3 rows deep.
Incaviglia went to Japan last year where they tried to teach him how to be a different hitter. They wanted him to finish up his swing like Fred McGriff and David Justice of Atlanta, that sweeping hand finishing high above his head. Well, flexibility isn't Inky's long suit, and he could never get the type of hitting stroke that they wanted him to adopt, so he didn't do anything over there. He wanted to come back and play for the Phillies, and he's come back with a resurgent year after his Japanese experience.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Incaviglia. Jeffries on at first and nobody out. Top of the 5th inning, the Cubs trailing by 2, and Jamie takes a little too much time, and Incaviglia wants a timeout.
Well, if Jamie's noticed it, Jeffries has got another foot on his lead at first base. Let's see if he's ready to go.
And the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Incaviglia down on strikes for the 2nd time this afternoon, and 1 man down.
Jamie uses that outside corner, and he uses it well. This is a fastball, however. Perfect pitch, throws it by Inky. And another good man for 2, Zeal coming up.
5 strikeouts for Jamie Navarro. Frank Castillo, Jim Bullinger, a couple of guys who have struggled in the rotation recently. Frank was working today on the side. Todd Zeal has grounded out twice, and strike 1 call. You mentioned the Phillies do a good job of stealing bases. They're also #1 in the National League in walks. Toss over to first base to keep Jeffries close. Phillies have the top stolen base percentage in the league. No balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Back through the middle, base hit center field. On his way to third base is Jeffries. McRae's throw comes into Sandberg. Runners at the corners with 1 man down.
And that was a rocket back through the middle. Jamie able to get out of the way of it as Zeal takes it right back at him. Navarro using a little too much of the plate. Can't get the glove up in time. And Jeffries easily into third base. So runners at the corners for one of the better left-hand hitters in the league, just strictly a pure average hitter, Jim Eisenreich. And I've been watching this guy for a long time, Wayne. I don't think there's any one way to pitch him. He hits the ball all over and doesn't seem to have one specific weakness.
Eisenreich hits it hard and dumps it into left field. Base hit. That scores Greg Jeffries. And the Phillies increase their lead to 5-2.
Well, this figured to be a tough inning for Navarro as Jim Riggleman now coming out. Service wanted the ball inside, and Navarro misses his spot. You see where Scott sets up. Jamie throws this one out away from Eisenreich, which is exactly where he wants it. And he just dumps it into left field, driving in his 16th run of the year. He's 3 for 3. And the Phillies now lead by 3.
So whereas in the last inning, the Phillies had 2 infield hits and a bloop double, they've had some solid base hits here. Single, a rocket through the middle by Zeal, and Eisenreich hit a shot to left field. So it brings up Benito Santiago with 1 out and 1 on. Make that runners at first and second. 1 out and 2 on. Santiago, a pair of doubles today. One to left, the other one the bloop to right. Cubs are trailing 5-2, and here's the pitch by Navarro. And it's lined at Sandberg. They've got a chance at first, but Grace wasn't quite back in time to make a play on Eisenreich, and he is back in safely, 2 men down.
The Phillies haven't run the bases too well in this series, but they do a good job here. This ball hit off the end of the bat. Rhino immediately looking at first base, but it was slowly hit, and Eisenreich was able to get back. So now we have to deal with the demon against the Cubs. Mike Benjamin. Boy, has he been tough.
Benjamin, a 2-run homer in the 4th inning. Takes the pitch down low. Nice block by Scott Service. 1 ball, no strikes. Benjamin 1 for 2 today. 16 for 30. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in his last 6 games here at Wrigley Field. One ball, no strikes. There's a strike.
Well, I always call Mark Lemke of Atlanta the pest because he seems to get base hits against the Cubs that really hurt him. And very slowly, Benjamin has fallen right into that pest list. He's really gotten some big hits.
1-1 pitch. Base hit center field, and scoring on the play. They wave around Todd Zeal, and the Phillies have another run in, and they lead by the score of 6-2. And
RBI number 10 for Benjamin. When you have confidence that you can hit against a certain ball club, it really doesn't matter who they put on the mound. This is a pretty good pitch. This is a slider. It's thigh high, and it really didn't look like a strike. And Benjamin reaches out, hits it just out of the reach of Jose Hernandez, driving in his 3rd run of the day.
Moves Eisenreich over to third. Benjamin on at first. The pitcher Terry Mulholland 1 for 2 today, singled in that 4th inning. 6-2 Phillies. Strike on the outside corner from Navarro. Mulholland had been hot coming into this game at the plate. Hitting .429, 3 for 7 with a double homer, a couple of RBIs in the last 3 games.
Jamie's given up 12 hits today. And Wayne, if you notice one thing, when Jamie has gotten in trouble, it's like a boxer when he starts getting hit and doesn't tie up the opposing boxer, tries to hit him harder and eventually gets knocked out. Jamie gets aggravated on the mound at times and tries to throw everything harder than the last pitch. He loses the idea of finesse, and everything comes in the same speed.
1-1 pitch, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, that's all part of what we talk about. Composure, right? I mean, that's, you've got to play your game regardless of the situation. 2 balls and 1 strike. Runners at first and third. Fouled back, and it's 2-2.
An old baseball adage, the says, and Greg Maddux learned this after his early years. Greg would get mad and try to throw the ball a little harder. So if your fastball is 88 and you try to throw it as hard as you can to get it to 90, doesn't help you. You can get more people taking something off than you can putting something on.
2-2 pitch. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Try to check his swing. It's strike 3. The inning is over, but not before. The Phillies pick up 2 runs on 4 hits. They lead 2. Middle of the 5th. Again, it's a 4-run. Philadelphia leads 6-2.
Still a long way to go. The wind blowing out here. A very lively day. And the Phillies are not out of sight. So the Cubs have a lot of opportunities against Terry Mulholland.
Haney has gone 6 for 47 at the plate in his last 19 games. Strike called, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground right side. Greg Jeffries up with it, and he waves off Mulholland, wins the race to the bag, 1 away.
Cub fans, Kimberly Clark and Jewel Osco want to take you out to the ball game. You can win 4 tickets to the July 14th Cubs-Cardinals game, and 1 lucky winner will throw out a ceremonial pitch from the Wrigley Field pitcher's mound. To enter, visit the Kimberly Clark point of purchase display at any Chicagoland Jewel Osco.
Brian McRae, the hitter, 1 for 2, a single in the 3rd. 1 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 5th inning here at Wrigley Field. Brian trying to bunt his way on, fouls it off. Everything considered, despite the Phillies, it is nonetheless a gorgeous day at Wrigley Field. Could be an even better day if the Cubs come back and win. But that's something we, and apparently Mother Nature, has very little control over. The 0-1 delivery and a wave and a miss by McRae. No balls and 2 strikes. Family day at the ballpark. Always a good time to bring the kids to see baseball. Dig that stuff out of there, but boy, once you get it out, it's good. The 0-2 delivery. Taken down low, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So the book closed on Jamie Navarro at 5 innings. He gave up 6 runs on 12 hits. He walked just 1, threw a wild pitch, fanned 6, and gave up a homer to Mike Benjamin.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Brian McRae. And McRae stays alive, nubs it foul toward the Phillies dugout. The Phillies go from here, following an off day tomorrow, into the Astrodome to take on the Houston Astros. One and 2 the count on Brian McRae. The only thing consistent about the Cubs this season. On the ground is shortstop Benjamin to Jeffries, 2 men down. The only thing consistent about the Cubs this season in their game has been inconsistency. I was talking to Scott Service before the game today. Every time you think you get a pitcher on track, all of a sudden he goes south on you. Every time you get a hitter in a good groove, all of a sudden you're looking at 0 for 15 or 2 for 20, something like that. It has been in each facet of the game inconsistency that has haunted the Cubs through this season. Ryne Sandberg takes the pitch down low, and that's why at Lynch a couple of weeks ago the general manager said, I can't really get a handle on this team. It's hard to get a feel for it. Certainly this club could use a stopper, a Rob Nen type in the bullpen, no doubt about that. Certainly this club could use another power hitter, but in the realm of what you can do to help this ball club, it's very hard to put your finger on a weakness because it changes so often. This is well hit to left. Ryne Sandberg, and it's gone. Rhino's 12th home run of the season.
RBI number 27. The Cubs trail only by 3 with a lot of at-bats left. And Sandberg took it out of the ballpark against the back screen. Second home run given up by Mulholland. And it's a high fastball. And it's gone.
Steve, one thing Rhino's been able to do, and this is why the baseball people talk about bat speed, when somebody makes a mistake to him, more often than not, he's been able to take it out. Grace hits it on the ground to second. Morandini to Jeffries, and the inning is over. But the Cubs do get a run back on the solo home run by Ryan Sandberg here in the 5th. And we are heading to the 6th inning with the Phillies leading 6-3. Back at Wrigley Field in Chicago, top of the 6th inning, Wayne Larrabee, Steve Stone, Harry Carey. The Cubs are trailing 6-3. And the Philadelphia Phillies bring the top of the order to the plate. Little Ricky Otero singled his last trip. He's 1 for 3. They're in at the corners, and Otero takes strike 1.
Terry Adams on the mound at 1-1. ERA 2.88, on for the 23rd time. Span 24, walk 21 in 34 1/3 innings, and there you look at the numbers.
This is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Otero hit his first major league homer the other night against Steve Traxel. And he pulls this one down the right field line, foul into the stands.
Otero came over from the New York Mets, where he had very little opportunity to play. But when Lenny Dykstra went down, Otero getting his chance here in Philadelphia. He's played a solid center field, and he's really surprised him with the bat.
The pitch looped into left field, but right at Ozzie Timmons, and he makes the catch. 1 out, nobody on. Hey, this Saturday on WGN, there is a classic movie for the whole family. The heartwarming story of a stray dog that changes the lives of 2 boys forever. Dorothy McGuire and Fess Parker star in Old Yeller. Saturday at noon on WGN Channel 9. Mickey Morandini, the hitter, takes the pitch inside and low for ball 1. Morandini walked in the first, grounded to Grace in the 3rd, flied out to Timmons in the 4th. There's a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Vikings are here, or their fans anyway, a little bit early. I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are going to be here till September at least. Swing and a miss by Morandini, who has an 11-game hitting streak on the line.
Pretty good slider by Terry Adams. He kept that one away from Morandini.
Steve, really the key you feel for Adams, he's got the live fastball, but he needs to get that slider over consistently, doesn't he?
A little more command of the slider, but you have to have patience with young pitchers. And he's got enough talent and has shown enough that the Cubs will have a lot of patience. And they're going to run him out there and give him his opportunity.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Mickey Morandini. Greg Jeffries waits on deck. Payoff pitch. That's ball 4.
Now you have to contend with a very good base runner. We showed you the graphic earlier. Morandini 18 for 18 in stolen bases. One of the longest streaks in the major league. Jim Riggleman looking out. And Jeffries, who had played a grand total of 3 games all season long before he dove head first, tore up his thumb, went on the disabled list, and he's come back with a vengeance.
The last 2 games, including today, Jeffries has 6 hits in this series. 4 hits yesterday, 2 today. He scored twice today, and he looks at strike 1 call. Of course, that shouldn't be surprising to Cub fans, because Jeffries came in with a career .349 average against Chicago. Morandini at first. The 0-1 pitch to the plate. A chopper over the head of Gomez. Hernandez makes a try at second base, but in safely as Morandini. It's another infield base hit for the Phillies, their 3rd of the afternoon.
These guys are swinging magic wands today. There's a lot of balls they haven't hit very hard, but they're finding great spots. Very hard in front of home plate, and a good effort by Hernandez, but he cannot get it to second base in time. So it's Adams and Inky.
Pete Incaviglia today 0 for 3. Runners at first and second. Problem with Incaviglia is when you're looking at 0 for 3, he becomes overdue at the plate. Here's the pitch hit on the ground, right side. Sandberg to Hernandez to Grace, and the inning is over. 4-6 3 double play hit into by Incaviglia ends the inning. No runs, a base hit, no errors. And as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, it's 6-3 Phillies.
Chicago Cubs.
And he hits a high fly ball deep to left again, and it's gone to Waveland Avenue and beyond. Sammy Sosa, second of the day, 19th of the season. Well, you said one. You had a feeling in those old bones of yours, and I guess you were right.
I told Sammy before the game as he was coming in, Sammy, this is going to be your day today. And he's making it his day, and now all he has to do is get some of his teammates to help him out. It's now a 2-run lead, still with a long way to go. And Terry Mulholland, who had given up just 6 home runs all year long coming into this, has given up 3 today. So Sammy's gone long ball twice, and there was no doubt about either of them. They were both rockets. Take another look at it as Sammy Sosa gets a fastball out over the plate where he can extend fully, and he takes it way back on to Waveland.
So Sammy Sosa doing the job here this afternoon, and Leo Gomez, the hitter, looks at ball 1. Leo has singled in 2 trips to the plate. Well, it's not over yet, and with the wind blowing out, especially to left center field, 6 runs may not be enough to win this game.
6 runs won't be enough to win this game.
Okay.
We'll just have to hope that Terry Adams can throw like he threw last inning and hold him right there.
Leo hits a fly ball left center field. Otero coming on, makes the catch.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
Ozzie Timmons to the plate with 1 out, nobody on. Ozzie has flied out to center field twice. There's a strike call. The Cubs came in, and Harry mentioned the fact that they don't have a lot of power hitters dotting this lineup, but they came in nonetheless ranked 3rd in the National League in home runs, and as Steve pointed out, have 3 here today off Mulholland. The 0-1 delivery, and backhanded by Benjamin at short from the deep hole, makes the throw in time to get Ozzie Timmons. Fine play.
For Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly for Ryan Sandberg? 370 happy feet. And for Sammy, substantially longer. 396 very happy feet.
I would have guessed 400 on that one, but Arnie Harris is always right. The customer and Arnie Harris are the only 2 people I know of that are always right. Swing and a miss by Scott Service.
Well, Mike Benjamin turned in a sparkling play at shortstop on Ozzie Timmons.
Yes, he did.
So not only with the bat, but with the glove, he's had a flawless series.
Get him out of here, Stoney. I don't want to see him after today.
We're going to get a good look at him in a couple days in Philadelphia.
Well, the 0-1 delivery. Fouled back by Scott Service. No balls and 2 strikes. Service 1 for 2.
Bullpen continues to work for both Philadelphia and the Cubs. Looks like Mike Perez. That's who it is for the Cubs. And on the other side, looks like Toby Borland.
Cubs are trailing by the score of 6-4 here. And now apparently a ball got away from the bullpen.
I got to believe that if Terry Mulholland has any problems at all with service, I don't think Jim Fregosi is going to let him face Hernandez, who is a home run threat. There is Mrs. Rhino on the left of your screen. Margaret.
No balls and 2 strikes. Pitch is apparently swung and missed at it and ruled strike 3. Scott tried to hold up his swing but could not, and he goes down on strikes. The Cubs do get a run on the leadoff homer by Sammy Sosa, and they're back in the game. Harry will take you the rest of the way. Philadelphia leading by the score of 6-4 through 6 innings of play here at Wrigley Field.
Steve Stone, oh boy, you are psychic. You said that Sammy's going to hit 1 today. He hit 2.
And both of them bombs. The Cubs still trail by 2, and it's up to Terry Adams to hold them right there.
Well, I tell you, here's a ground ball, easy out. Good throw, get him, and does. If Sammy could only have put a couple more men on base for each one of those home runs. But we can still win this game, you know.
Well, I think the Cubs are going to come back. It's just a question of who they come back against. I don't know how much longer Terry Mulholland's going to be around. But here's one of the men who have really been tough against the Cubs today, Jim Eisenreich.
Don't you want to mention Mike Benjamin?
Yeah, you always mention Mike Benjamin as far as the Cubs are concerned.
He sure murders the Cubs. It ought to be a good idea to get Benjamin on the Cubs just so they don't have to play against them. Let's pause for identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
Here's a high pop fly they've been dropping today, but Timmons makes the catch. 2 away. Zeal grounded out to short. Eisenreich popped to Timmons. Boy, a tough 4th inning, and that seems to be, don't bet on the number 4 horse, Arnie. Yesterday, they got 6 runs on 5 hits in the 4th inning. Today, 4 runs on 6 hits in the 4th inning. 2 men are out. Santiago. He's had 2 doubles. Hit the ball hard every time up. Pretty good crowd all of a sudden. The bleachers are packed. One ball, 1 strike. Pete Rose used to do what Mike Benjamin is doing now to the Cubs. Pitch outside. 2 balls and the strike. Only game in the National League this afternoon. 1 game in the American League in Milwaukee. Brewers leading 4-2 at the end of 5. Ground ball is short. Hernandez. Good throw. Get him. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs trailing 6-4.
Sing along with Harry. The 7th-inning stretch is brought to you by your friends at Budweiser.
Let me hear you. Good and loud. All right, Gary. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to. Root for the ball game. Hey! Let's get some run. On the bottom of the 7th.
Toby
And
Borland coming into the
Toby
game.
Borland.
And he's given up 6 home runs in 32 1/3 innings. Record good 3-1. ERA high at 4.73, and he's a side wheeler.
Tomorrow's an open day, but Friday, Montreal will be here. Henry Rodriguez of Montreal leads the National League with 21 home runs. And Sammy Sosa is now up to 19. So Hernandez gets a base on ball.
Scott Bullitt, who was just activated when Ray Sanchez went on the DL, now getting a look. And remember, when a left-hander starts against the Cubs, the bench of Jim Riggleman gets a lot stronger because you've got Magadan and Gonzalez to come off the bench against the right-handed relievers. So a couple of pretty good left-handed sticks, along with Brett Barbary, a switch hitter. So there's a very balanced bench for Jim Riggleman.
Scott Bullitt pitch hitting. A runner at first, nobody out. Inside. 1 ball, no strikes. The makings of a good inning here. If Bullitt could do something. McRae, Sandberg, and Grace coming up next.
Left-handers usually get a very good look at Borland.
A little bit outside, ball 2.
6 straight bad ones. And now Mickey Morandini coming in to have a talk with him. Jim Riggleman looking over his lineup card just to see if Jim Fregosi is going to make a change, and if he does, who he can go to.
Nobody out. Ball, 2 balls, no strikes. 6-4 Phillies lead. Bright sunshine, beautiful day. Strike call.
Kirk Wendell loosening up in the pen. A very good outing for Terry Adams.
Two balls and the strike. Base hit! In the right field, around second base, racing for third. And runners at first and third, nobody out. Hernandez went from first to third on Bullet, single to right.
If you're a sidearmer, left-handers are going to see that ball all the way. And right-handers have some problems with Borland. But he walked the right-hander, gave up the base hit, and now runners at the corners. A low fastball. Scott Bullitt, a good low fastball hitter. And he makes a triumphant return after leaving to a cracked rib.
Borland stands 6'6". He's out of Quitman, Louisiana. Runners first and third. Hey, base hit! Now it's a 6-5 ball game. Runners at first and third. On the first pitch, McRae lined a single to right. And the Cubs trailing only by a run with nobody out.
RBI number 20, hit and run. Another low fastball and another fine swing. So the Cubs have shocked Borland, who's come in just in time as far as they're concerned. Here comes Jim Fregosi. He might have seen just about enough of Mr. Borland at this point, with runners at the corners and nobody out, and the Cubs moving to the heart of the order. That's going to be it for Borland.
That's going to be all for Borland. And we'll tell you more about the new pitcher coming in a moment. Let's see who's got the hottest ticket in town. Hey! Abraham, our own chef. I'm going to have to call him up.
Russ Springer coming into the ball game, 1-4, 3.98 ERA. Spanned 38 and 31 2/3 innings, but he has a tendency to get wild. He pitched an inning in yesterday's game, gave up a hit but no runs.
Sandberg homered his last time up. Takes a strike ball. Rhino now has hit 12 homers. Of his 42 hits, 20 have been for extra bases. There goes the runner up first. Got a stolen base. His 19th of the year. No play.